Greetings, everyone. This is Payman, Lorenzo, your host of the Leaders Without podcast. Today, I have a first world record, first person to be here. What is it? We have repeat, repeat, and what is it? Quadrepeat, tetrapeat. What is? I think it's tetrapeat if you want to go by the Latin, etymology. But basically, it's the fourth time that my brother from another mother, Bryan Tarr, is back. The fourth time, and we had a wonderful. And as I told them, listen, I should have pressed the record button even when we're just chit-chatting early because we had a powerful conversation. The beautiful idea was I got in my head, shared it with them, and we just both of us just brainstorm. And now we'll make it happen. So we're going to talk about that. And Bryan asked me, so what are you going to talk about today? I said, well, you know what? There's no structure. Let's jam and see where it takes us. So, and I know it's going to be something powerful. We're going to talk about what we just brainstorm earlier and
right. And like
plant the seed. So welcome back, brother. It's an honor as always.
I love this. I love this. Every time I talk with you, something is lit up. And I think I want to people beginning to listen that I was introduced to you from a good friend that I trust.
Yes.
And they knew that we would get along well. Allowing myself to be guided and follow your lead, you opened up something about myself that I wasn't completely aware of. And then when I started to question, is this me? Do I have this? I was asked, I'm joined a part of a Toastmasters. Now, in Toastmasters, you need to show up 3 times before you're a member. And once you're a member, you need to give an icebreaker speech. So I'm wondering about my icebreaker speech. And the idea that I came up with was something we had talked about. Okay, so I prepared my icebreaker speech and I gave it. Okay, and since I spoke to you, you saw something in me that I didn't see, and I began to ask people that I trust, "Do you see this in me?" And they're like, "Absolutely." And all of a sudden, I began to see a gift that I have that I took for granted because it's just natural to me.
I'll do.
And so at this icebreaker speech, that's when I needed to put something together. I needed to tell the story of who I am. And I drew upon the story that we had created. So I presented the story in what I thought was what went on in my life and the things I did to rebuild my life. That was the focus on it. And I thought I did a good job. I talked about how many times I've rebuilt my life. And now I am a rebuild master because I've done it so many times. And I finished the speech and I felt good about it. Now, gentlemen that have been there for decades came up to me and said, that's one of the most powerful speeches I've heard in a long time. And I thought, this is me? I heard this from Payman. I heard this from another friend. I'm hearing from them. And it woke in me, not just that I have a gift, but that I have a responsibility.
Thank you. That's
to
exactly
teach
what I've been
this.
telling. Yes.
And so we were just chatting a little bit ago about this and how there are men who have overcome enormous challenges. Let me say there's men in life who should have checked out, but they didn't
Men that
check
have gone
out.
to hell and come back. Absolutely.
Yep. Everything in their life, they should have checked out, but they didn't. And they became an influencer and making impact and freedom. So me and Payman were talking about this, and what if we gathered all these people together? Now, there's an idea, but ideas are nothing without the action. Now, we talked about we get caught up in the how of doing things, and that stops us from doing it. But you reminded me, there's many quotes that the how is not our responsibility. And then I came up with a quip that the how is a hot stove. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. Focus on the why and don't touch the how. And so I said, okay, in a period of 6 weeks, we're going to have a summit, and I don't know how, but it doesn't matter. And that became movement. Now, the next action is I'm going to make a post. Right now, it's my words. But when I make a post, I just made a public commitment to that. And I really don't know how this is all going to come about. And you know what? It doesn't matter. And that's what happens when you have these kind of connections. When I take the time to learn more about Payman, he took the time to learn more about me. And this just happens. And these are the kind of, as a man, these are the kind of men that I'm gathering in my life, because I know I'm not supposed to do it alone by myself. And I'm just amazed at how being willing to get to know somebody, listen to their story, share your story, and keep showing up to create a relationship and fellowship, that there's just blessings you can't even imagine that will come from that.
Absolutely. You said so many powerful things, but a couple of points I want to just bounce back off of them is that you said, something I've always been saying, we all go through our own share of tragedies, very hard times, and while we're going through them, they really hurt like a bitch. Sorry for my German, but it's really painful. Sometimes makes you want to consider, hey, is this really worth for me continuing, or should I check out? But then they happen for us for a reason, for us to grow and to get to the next stage of our life, our journey, and then those become our story. That story then becomes our gift, and that gift becomes our responsibility, just the way you put it. Because if all we did was just to overcome them, grow as a person, it's almost we only tapping only 5% of the potential of that beautiful gift. From my limited and humble understanding, since I've had my spiritual awakening, is that one of the main reasons we are here is to not only go through challenges, overcome them, and become a better person, but most importantly, then share that with the world, so that together we can all race. And that responsibility is one of the ultimate reasons we are here. And I love you just mentioned that, because this is exactly how I feel. It's exactly what I've been saying. And for you, Bryan, you mentioned, yes, as I just told you earlier, today when we spoke, you sound like a different person, much more confident, much more charismatic, much more powerful. Not saying that the first time we talked you were not, you were, but now I see something different in you. I see the fire in your eyes, that you have conviction that you didn't have before. Because one thing I noticed after speaking with over almost 200 people, this is episode 187, 88, is that we take for granted not only our skills but our story. For us, it's nothing special. It's we take it. It's like whatever. It's normal, but it takes an objective, unbiased pair of eyes to tell us, hey, don't sleep on this. This is your gift. And when I saw the first time I heard your story, I said, oh my God, this is way bigger than a podcast. That's why you were back 3 times, this 4 times now. I said, this deserves its own, not only its own podcast, but a book, and also a documentary and movies, and an entire movement. Because as we just talking, how many men have gone to hell? Literally, I mean it, to hell. The entire world crumbled around them, but yet somehow they still clawed they fought, and now they're back. They bounce back, and they're becoming beacons of light to inspire other men. And with just what we're talking about, what if we're to try the main reason for you and other gentlemen like you, Randy, my beautiful friend, Randy Brown, Coach Randy. We go through these because our ultimate purpose is to take those gifts and share it with the world. But now, because of the technology we have at our disposal, we're not limited to our own limited 50 miles radius. We can have an impact globally. Why not take that gift, bring those men together, and change and create not just a story, a podcast, a book, but an entire global movement. And I was jokingly telling you, Bryan, you have all the makings of, you are a leader, but I was saying you should run for president, but not for president because they don't deserve you, but a president of something much bigger, much more impactful.
Thank you. And I was reflecting on how I've changed in the last few weeks. And somebody was reminding me of, they said, I want you to smile. I heard on podcast. Yes. And so I smiled really big. Yes. Okay. Now I want you to smile bigger than you ever have before. Bigger, smile. Okay. Now take that and smile even bigger than that. And I'm trying to grin. And they said, okay, I bet you didn't think that you could smile as big as you could on that third smile.
Smile as if you would do it as the 5-year-old version of you would smile. With no shame, no shyness, no nothing, just smiling with all your soul.
And their leading was smile big, now smile bigger, now smile even bigger. They said, you had no idea when I asked you to smile at the first time that you could smile as big as you could. It's beyond like your expectations, right? And where in life are we not living to the highest expression of who we can be? We think that we do okay, but where can we challenge ourselves to be even bigger than we can imagine. And the reason why I mention that is why I'm looking back on what's been happening in the first few weeks, and how I've been stronger, confident, Bryan. But this has come about from being extremely uncomfortable. And I think that anybody could say, well, that's great. You've had some people around you. You're kind of lucky. But this is a completely intentional. When we spoke about, and in that last podcast, about the time that I was in jail, I was down to that thought, and other men are, they have that thought of, I should check out. It's not worth it. I'd be better off dead. I'm done. Or even, I'm going to begin to transform myself to survive this. I'm going to transform and become something I don't want to be to survive this. So we are completely checking out mentally. We maybe want to check out of life, but something happens in our lives that says, don't hang on. And we have no reason why, except that voice. We need to hang on, and we survive it. But we have a choice after surviving it. Are you done? Are you going to put away the lesson that you learned? Or are you going to keep growing and keep facing these? Now, the opportunity was for me to allow myself to keep putting myself in positions and places and circumstances that made me uncomfortable, that intentionally brought up the crap that was in my life. And so I surrounded myself with people that are higher up than me, that made me uncomfortable. I put myself in self-discipline situations that brought up my fears, anxieties. And it's like intentionally bringing up the crud that you don't even want to deal with. Why would you want to do that? It's almost metaphorically, it's like there's a toilet there and you're putting your hands in the mess. That's horrible. Why would you even do that to yourself? But there's a lesson to be learned there. And so when I gathered myself around people who knew I was hiding, who knew I was lying to myself, who knew I was playing small, and they challenged me on that, I didn't like that. It made me uncomfortable, doubt myself, fear, anxiety, but that began to change me. Recently, I had my coach tell me that my problem in business wasn't the business methodologies that I was using. It was between my ears.
Totally.
It was between my ears. And so I said, what do I need to learn? Tell me what I need to know. I'm looking for the answer. And he said, I can't tell you that. Only you know. What do I need to do? He said, it's time that you, in your life, learn to be accountable and to be disciplined. Well, how do I do that? He said, there's a 100-day challenge that I'm going to challenge you. When you don't complete these tasks, you go back to zero and start again. It was physical fitness, 45 minutes of working out, meditation, listening to a specific podcast, taking a photo of what I look like without a shirt on. And then I think one of the other things was make sure I do a social media post. And so these are the disciplines, because Bryan was failing at these disciplines. Now I don't even know how I'm going to get this in my schedule. So I started the challenge, and I was day 5, day 6, and I failed on one of these. I started at 0 again. I could have been done with it, but I said, okay, what did I learn? Here we are. It's day 1 again. And I went day 1 again, and I went for about 4 more days, and I missed something else. And it was at day 1 again. Okay, what am I taking away with the learning? And I've been working on getting past day 6 for a month now. Now that could look like a failure because I'm not going past, but the lessons I'm learning are impactful. I am choosing my fiance. I love her, but she said, you know what I think about the challenge, Bryan? It's just not the right time for you. I love you, but I see you frustrated, and she cares a lot about me. I don't think this is right for you. And I said, I love you. I'm doing this because I'm choosing to be more accountable and more disciplined in my life. And I've seen where I've gotten away with not doing that my whole life. I've built structures around my life that let me not be disciplined and accountable. Enough's enough. This is difficult. This is not easy, but I'm committed to shepherding myself. I'm committed to reparenting myself. And this simple challenge has brought out other things in my life. Now she's seen I'm different. My friends are seeing that I'm different. I came in this process, I came across you, and we had that amazing conversation where you told me about something about myself that I never saw before. And by continually challenging myself, it's putting me in that place of doing something I didn't even think I could do. And I realized that I'm going to stop thinking of my life of what do I think I can do. It's so counterintuitive. I want to begin to think of my life as what's impossible. Right today, what seems impossible. And when that feeling comes over me, like, how in God's name am I going to do that? Then the answer is go do that. It's this new discipline and new accountability of reaching higher. We were talking about a summit of men, and I'm looking at this, and we're going to invite powerful men to talk, and we're going to execute it in 6 weeks. Oh, come on. You've got to be crazy. You've got to be insane. That's just not possible. But now in life, learning to be a man, it's that kind of thing, reaching for the impossible, that's a chrysalis for what's inside of me. And I'm doing this not because of external. I heard that the other day on a podcast. A coach could tell me to do it. Somebody could do it, make me want to do it. I could be in a job that makes me want to do it. I could be external influences. But what kind of man can I be when my influences are internal? That's the Bryan Tarr I want to show up in life. So that's what's been happening in these last few weeks since we spoke. And I've tapped into a part of myself that I forgot about, that I've ignored, that I've kept quiet. And my voice comes out and my confidence, and I don't give a care what anybody else thinks now. I am Bryan Tarr. I am a unique creature. I am an imperfect child of God serving other imperfect people. And I don't know what's next, and I don't need to know what's next. Mm-hmm. I'm going to keep my life in this challenge phase. This is now the way. In martial arts, it's the do. It is the way that I want to live my life. And if I ever get comfortable again, I know I've got a problem.
Absolutely. That made me think, most of us, myself included, we spend the first big chunk of our life just living our life to make other people happy, to follow what they want us to do. And then we go through, and that causes tremendous amount of pain, frustration, and all that. And it can put us into some very dangerous and at times tragic situations. But once you come out of that, then you gain a self-confidence that, you know what, from now on, I don't give a damn about what other people think. You want to fire me? Go ahead. I'll help you. Because when you go, just like I've gone to hell. I've when I was living in China and Hong Kong, I literally ran out of money. I was living on $20 a week. In Hong Kong, one of the most expensive cities of the world. If it wasn't for the kindness of one of my good friends that allowed me to crash in his couch for a few months, I would have been on the street. But ironically, it was during those few months that I was the most happiest as well, because I was learning that, hey, I can be happy with no money. I would not change that. But now thankfully I bounce back now, I look back at it, when someone threatens me to anything, oh, you want to do this? I'm not going to do business with you. I'm going to fire you. Okay, whatever. Because once you've seen the worst, living on $20 a week, and you were still ironically the most happiest, most fulfilled, then nothing phases you. Become almost invincible, untouchable. And I can only imagine what because you've gone through things that are a million times harder than what I went through. I'm sure you feel now a different person. You feel completely invincible, untouchable, that nothing can phases you, no one can even affect you. This is an extremely powerful situation to be in. And this is, maybe I'm rumbling, but what I'm saying is that we now we have earned the right to live life the way we want always to live it, because we've paid our dues, so to speak, literally, and more than that. And now it's time to embrace that, and apologetically, and without any shame or any restriction, and just go. Just like you mentioned earlier, don't just smile. Laugh as if your 5-year-old self of you would do without any preconceptions, without any societal things holding him back. Just laugh like a kid. Express your desire. Express your heart. You want to do it? People will say it's crazy, but who cares? The crazier, the better. Because hey, what is a genius? A genius is someone that's crazy, that believes in his craziness, and
Mhm.
and he's considered crazy because he threatens other people's way of settling down and just going with the flow. I'm not saying be a rogue, but follow your
It's
heart.
counterintuitive for people because
Yeah.
I will, and I realize I say this, I will never be in a place in my life where I'm invincible, powerful. I got this. I'm over, I'm a conqueror and I've got this life. I realize that. But what I am is a man who's learned, and we've learned, and there was something in my life I learned from somewhere that I just want to be okay. I want to be safe, and I want to be things to be okay. And I had a friend of mine say, that's a horrible place to live. Like, but wait, I want to get the job, and I want to get the woman, and I want to have the marriage, and I want to have a house so that I'm safe. Life is not meant to be safe.
No.
Life is hard. Life is a struggle. Life is a challenge for a reason, because we're learning. And when we learn, we become a masters at learning. And that confidence is from knowing that tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, there's going to be some stuff that's going to bring me to my knees. It's going to have me doubt myself, and it's going to give me anxiety. I know it's going to happen, but you know what? I know that I can learn. I know that I can completely be responsible for everything I have in my life. I know that I've built that muscle up. I'm going to learn from anything that happens. I'm going to learn. I'm becoming confident to my soul that there is always a solution. There's always, if there's a problem, there's a solution.
Really.
There is no possibility that they won't exist. There is sun, there's daylight, and there's nighttime. They can't be separated. So now I know I learn. Now I'm not afraid of completely falling apart. I'm not afraid of losing it all. I'm not afraid of somebody telling me I'm disappointed in you. I'm mad at you. I'm angry at you. I'm not afraid of that. So life is going to get messy. And in that ability to know that I can get beyond that, that's what makes me very dangerous. That makes me very different. That makes me stand out. That makes me different than anybody else. The man that walks into the room and captures everybody's attention is not the man who's a performer, not the man who's very suave and can influence people. He has an inner confidence that says, you throw anything at me,
What I meant,
and I
yes.
got this.
Yeah.
And I know that I'm human, and I will fall, I will mess up, and I will have bad times. And I know I'm going to learn from that. This is who I am. And when I think that's one of the things that put myself in that situation of constant learning, is because you're like, take my money from me. I know I can learn from that situation. Have nobody in my life approve of what I'm doing. That's okay.
Yeah.
I know I can learn from that.
Yeah.
I know that there's probably another dark fear that I haven't discovered that's inside of me, and it's going to take me out for a moment because I can learn.
Mm-hmm.
That is where that strength comes from.
Absolutely.
Is
That's what I
that
meant. Yeah.
that knowing that I'm going to learn, and I'm going to
Because
learn the rest of my life.
no matter what they throw at you, you equipped not only to handle it, but to overcome it and to come back, to come out of it stronger. That's what I meant earlier when we talked about, a theme for the event, just brainstorming. Hey, men that have gone to hell and come back, and now we're paving the way for a brighter, more beautiful, more impactful future for them and for those
Mhm.
around them. So
An
yeah,
analogy came to mind of the open hand.
yes.
If I have an open hand, let me get that in the camera. If I have an open hand, I can receive
Mm-hmm.
and things can be taken.
Yes.
This is the flow of life.
Yes.
This stops the flow of life.
Absolutely. Yes.
I'm confident that I don't need anybody. See where that takes you.
Yes.
I don't want anybody to hurt me anymore. See where that takes you.
Yes.
I'm ready to, I need help and I'm ready to receive. And things are going to be taken from me, but I don't close my hand.
Because just like you said, it's a flow of life. Comes and goes, comes and goes. If it's taken, it has to be replenished back. It's a rule of physics of, cause consequence.
Yeah,
It's
energy is never, somebody said energy
yeah,
is never destroyed or changed.
it's
So I'm going to live the rest of my life with this open hand.
it's
And
transformed and recycled. Yes.
when
Mhm.
Bryan falls down, there's my open hand to be lifted
Yes.
up.
Even
Bryan
when you,
is doing confident and doing very, very, very well. Here's my open hand.
even when you fall down, it's a beautiful learning lesson for you to grow even wiser, better. Because everything is
Yeah.
an evolution. Everything is, it's a school. We're here to learn. We're all here to learn all kinds of experiences. That's what I like to say. Life is like a 5-star Michelin restaurant for us to sample all kind of dishes. And by dishes, I mean experiences and the dishes
Yeah.
along the way as well. But
Yeah.
it's part of
Love,
life.
love
This
that.
is what life is
Love that.
about. It's about learning. Actually, I just did I was part of a multi-authored book project. I shared my story, and the title of my chapter was called Blessings and Experiences. And this is what it's all about. It's about all the blessings I've had in life and all of the experiences I've been blessed to accumulate along my path so far. It's all about experiencing things. And that's what I always say. I want to be the richest man in the world in terms of experiences, because that's something no one can take away from you. And that's what's going to be the foundation for you to build. Even if you put your hand open, something comes and you take it. But with experience, you learn you can build something much bigger, because in business, it's important to know what to do, but it's twice as more important to know what not to do.
Yeah. And constant and get the trusted advice. I think I've
Yeah.
learned hard on the value
Yeah.
of being able to create trusted relationships.
Yes.
So I have a framework that I created, which is I told needs to be a book, and I'll work on that. But I have a framework I created of 7 commitments that when these 7 commitments are honored, that it will always result in a trusted relationship. And I know this from experiencing it in my life. And so now when I meet people, I'm listening for those 7. Some of them are accountability, transparency, vulnerability, accountability. I think I said that. Truth and honesty and integrity. And I think those are kind of and responsibility. So I'm listening for this. So I'm talking with somebody and I'm listening for truth and honesty. Okay, I hear that. I'm listening for authenticity. Are they them or are they bullshitting me? Who are they? Okay. I'm looking for accountability. I heard that person, they didn't take accountable for anything that they're saying. They're blaming other people. That's going to be a challenging relationship. They're not transparent. They're hiding something. That's not going to be a good relationship. And so I listen for those and I speak about those. And when somebody's not willing to have the 7 commitments of trust, that's okay. God bless you. I love you and have a good life. But you
Okay.
won't be a good fit for me. My life is created by trusted relationships. And even if somebody falls out of a trusted relationship, I can say, hey, when we were talking, you keep talking about how other people are doing things for you, and I don't hear you taking responsibility for your own actions. I'm just reflecting that to you. Take it where you want. When the person says, I've been thinking about that, I'm so glad you mentioned it. Can you help me to be more responsible in my life? We have a great relationship. We
Wow.
returned back to that. We returned back to
Mhm.
alignment. So that has encouraged me that I'm seeking out those kind of relationships in my life because they're making me stronger. That's
Absolutely.
one of the things that's really helping me out. And the other thing that I was thinking of, trusted relationships, and something else came to mind, but I'll remember that in a second. But I think that's one of the things is the trusted relationships, keeping those in my life. And that's forming a tribe, a community around me who lifts me up.
Absolutely. It's all about that. Yes. Building your tribe, people that relate with you, resonate with you in your message. Sure, it's not for everyone, but the people that relate with it, they will be like glue with you. They will be like, in math, 1 + 1 is 2, but in real life, 1 + 1 is not 2, but 11, especially when the both people are completely aligned. And 3 people is not 3, but 111. 4 people are not 4, but 1,111. So imagine that it exponentially explodes.
It will. I spoke with a man the other day, and he had an accent, and I was curious about where he came from. And he said that he was a 23-year-old, and he was working here in San Diego. And he's the last couple of years, he's really just spent his time working by himself, working from home, and not getting out and meeting people. And he feels a little lonely, and he needs to be social again. Here's a man who's realizing that he needs more connections in his life, and he didn't know how he would meet people. He doubted that he would be able to meet people. And as I began to talk to him, I said, well, tell me where you're from. He goes, well, I'm from Kenya. Okay, you're from Kenya. That's fascinating. And he said, I moved to Atlanta, Georgia, because I wanted to make more of my life, and I didn't like that. And so I solicited 168 companies that would support his visa and employ him. And one company in San Diego said they would do that. So he came to San Diego. I said, that's a bold and courageous action right there. He said, it is. I said, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I don't know how I'm going to make some new friendships in my life. And I said, well, you've got a fascinating story right there. He said, I think you're right. When I was talking to my twin, I go, wait, your twin? Yeah, well,
Even
my
better.
twin, right? Who's over in China right now. Wait, your twin is from
What?
Kenya, over in China?
That's a
Yeah, he's in China
blockbuster.
because he learned to speak Mandarinese. You speak to learn
Holy cow.
Mandarin, and you're in China, and it's your twin. And he goes, yeah, his name is such as I couldn't remember it, but my parents chose different names. They called me Perfect. I'm like, hold on. Women are going to
Whoa.
love this. Women are going to love that I'm speaking to the perfect man.
I would love to be
And
connected to him and have him on my podcast. Seriously.
oh,
Please connect me if you have his contact.
I don't have his contact. It was a brief conversation.
Okay.
But life happens. Well,
Yes.
I just have to Google perfect,
Oh,
right?
perfect from
Right?
Kenya. Yeah.
Yep.
With a twin
And
in
this is
China.
what was amazing was I was giving him kindness. I said, think about this. You're going to talk to somebody and said, I'm from Kenya and I love San Diego, and I happen to be employed here and I want to learn more people. Let me introduce you. I'm perfect. I said, right there, right there. People are going to want to get to know you. And he began to think about it. And I thought to myself, this is the power of being really present. And it was uncomfortable for me to have this conversation with him because I'm an introvert at nature, but I've learned not to be. And so I had this conversation because I believe more is possible. So as we're talking, I was actually driving him to a destination that he wanted to go to. He said, I want to go play soccer today, but I don't know where the field is. So I drove him close to the area. And I said, is this the soccer field that you want to go to? He goes, I don't know. I know there's that building, but I don't know where the field is. I don't know what we should do. And I turned and looked, and there was a woman riding on a bicycle. And I said, excuse me, is there a soccer field around here? She's like, well, yes, there is. I said, I don't know where it is. Can you help me? She said, not a problem. You see that building over there, right over there? The soccer field is just around that. And you know what? These gates that are usually closed are open today. Go this back way, back alley, and turn there, and you'll be at the soccer field. It's like, thank you. Gave her a high five. And I got in, and Mr. Perfect looked at me. He said, I can't believe that happened. That was
Wow.
amazing. You just went up and talked to that person. And I said, you know why? Because I've made a lot of mistakes. I've
Yes.
embarrassed myself. But look at that. Now we're going to follow her directions. And we turned to right and turned to right and turned to right. And she said, take a right in a driveway. And as we drove up, soccer field is on our right. And as I took the right, we were at the entrance of the soccer field that normally was invisible. And I looked at him and he said, thank you for driving me here. This was the best experience. And that was from just me being me. And that's what's possible when you're just yourself. The right person comes along and I get a good story. I can say, hey, women, I met the perfect man. I had a perfect conversation.
Beautiful.
Yeah. That's what life will bring to you when your hand is open.
Absolutely. Wow. What a powerful story. See, when you're receptive and you don't let shyness or whatever come in the way, just be bold. Let your soul speak. A lot of time we meet someone that we want to talk to them, but we say, maybe I shouldn't, maybe not, maybe not. Don't be shy. Just your shyness, that's your biggest, one of the biggest thing that is holding us back. It's held me back for a long time. And finally now I just completely was able to overcome it. But you feel once you do that, you become a different person. You see all kinds of opportunities, possibilities open in front of you.
And it doesn't always work out because
Now,
I said, hey, how are you doing today to some people? And they're like, I'm fine.
it's
Have you had a
okay.
great day?
It's okay.
And
Yeah,
they're like, yeah, I've had an okay day. Got it. And the conversation closes down.
exactly.
I could think I make a mistake. I could think I did
Now,
something wrong. And I
but
go
they
to
will
talk to the
remember
next
you.
person.
They will remember you
They,
because you took them
they
out of
might.
the slumber, whatever. They were just, hey, someone is actually talking to me.
They might. I've seen people that I've talked to that are so closed. They're like, don't touch my bubble. I
Yeah.
got it. Even
Yes.
a no is not a negative. It's a not yet or not the right time or this isn't
Yes.
it.
Yes.
So I talked to this person and they're closed. Got it. I talked to this person. I'm like, how you doing today? And sometimes people look at me like, I'm fine. I'm sorry, this is kind of weird. Like, my apology. I could stop right there,
Yeah.
but I know who Bryan Tarr is. And I go talk to another person that I don't even know. Last two people really didn't talk to me. All right. Hi, how you doing today? I'm amazing. Really?
I'll be more.
What's amazing about today? Well, I got to talk to my best friend I haven't talked to in 2 years.
Wow.
Conversation could die right there. Then I realized it's not about me. Wait, you just talked to a friend you haven't met you haven't spoken with in 2 years? How'd that happen? Vroom. And the story comes out.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And the thing that you said that we don't know where the conversation will take us is I could have had a really crappy day
Yes.
and I could actually be talking to the person and I'm thinking negative about myself. And that person says, you're the first person in 3 weeks that's actually cared enough to ask me about my conversation and my story.
But I said they will
Thank you
remember
for
you.
that. And they said, thank you for that gift. Would you please keep doing that?
Wow.
And you get the message you're supposed to get. This happens a lot, but I never quit opening the door because you don't know where
Yeah.
it's going to take you.
Yes.
It's just,
Yes.
I
Yes.
become fascinated with it now.
And don't get me wrong. Sometimes we get days that we are the person that don't want to be disturbed at all. Those days, we all get those days too. But and in that case, that's when we would love to have someone come to us and say, "Hey, what's keeping you down? Why are you feeling down today?" It can happen to all of us. So
Mm-hmm.
yes. Now this is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I love this jamming. This is beautiful jamming. This could be the
Yeah, it
title of the
is. It
podcast.
is. And it is evidence of that something life can cause a traumatic situation to happen to us because we're supposed to learn a lesson.
Yeah.
So if we didn't die, if life didn't decide that we're supposed to leave this earth, then there's a lesson we're supposed to learn, even if we don't know what it is, even if we don't know what it is. And the choice as men and, as women or other people, the choice that every day when I get up, I look at my day and I look at what I'm going to do today and the activities that I have in mind that I want to complete. And I want them to make me feel a little uncomfortable. I want them to make me feel a little uncomfortable. So I'm in charge of my schedule. I'm writing out my schedule, and I can buffer it and I can make myself feel comfortable. But I do that. I'm like, okay, I got that. I got that. That feels comfortable. What am I avoiding?
That's a powerful question.
What am I avoiding? I'm avoiding that. Let's put that into the schedule. Oh, no, I think I got that. I think I got that. All right, Bryan, you just said you think you got that. What are you avoiding still? Okay. Well, this is not going to give me any time for my workout. Go do that. And then I write it, go do my workout. Now I gave my word. And in my life, if I give my word, I have to honor my word. It's not okay that I don't honor my word. And so now it's my schedule. And how am I going to get this stuff done? And I don't give myself an out, because this being uncomfortable. I'm going to learn something today. I don't do everything. I learned something. I do everything. I learned something. We're in control of the 24 hours that we have in our lives. And how can we make that an uncomfortable situation that we're going to learn intentionally? I think I've just become fascinated with that. I will seek out uncomfortable things in my schedule. I will push myself beyond what I think I can do, because I've learned that it shows me that Bryan is capable of doing more than I can. And the only way I'm going to experience that is, like I was talking about with that 100-day challenge. The only way I'm going to experience that is making myself uncomfortable in what I'm doing. And I'm going to discover what Bryan can be. I think that's why you said that there's a different Bryan speaking now than a few weeks ago. You woke me up to a gift I have, but I didn't sit on that. I said, what would be really uncomfortable, Bryan? Sharing that with your best friend, Martine. Go do that. And I did. And I thought, okay, I'm just going to share it with him. And Martine said, this makes sense. And he gave me more. Bryan, what would be really uncomfortable? It would be really uncomfortable for you to give a speech about that. Oh, good God. Okay. I don't know how this is going to go, and I'm going to give a speech about this. This is so uncomfortable. And I gave it.
Was that the first time that you mentioned what you went through in public, in a podcast, or to anyone outside of your close friends and family?
And I'm thinking, see, look at this. My mind is intentionally blocking out things because it's uncomfortable for me. And so I can't remember, but I think that I've spoken to people about it because it was safe. But that's the first time that I spoke about my dad passing away, the first time I talked about bad stepfather, the first time I talked about being in jail. And that's the first time I spoke about it publicly. And something clicked that I wasn't giving a speech to anybody. I wasn't worried about what they were doing. There was a friend I knew in the audience. There was somebody I knew, and I was talking to him, and he made me feel safe. And so I just shared it, and I'm like, and so I thought, once the words began, I couldn't quit. I couldn't stop. And so I shared it, and I shared it, and I shared it, and I calmed down. I took a breath, and I was complete. I did it. I was uncomfortable, and I completed it. And still, I was at the meeting today, and the gentleman said that's one of the best speeches I've ever heard. Wait, coming from Bryan Tarr, that's one of the best speeches you ever heard. And now, the next uncomfortable thing is to share it again. So it's these golden thread of connections of being uncomfortable that are creating something that I didn't think I can be. So what's
Remember,
next for Bryan Tarr? I don't even know.
remember what we just talked about before going live? Me sharing with you my vision of us being in front of a packed stadium of 50,000 people, man, all sharing their experiences. Now imagine Bryan Tarr sharing his experience in front of that crowd, hanging
Thinking
on to
about that.
every word. I'm getting goosebumps. I don't know if you can see it here right now, but I'm getting goosebumps right now.
Thousands of people
Packed
all
stadium.
listening, packed stadium, all quiet. And the voice that you hear is your voice telling your story.
Yes.
That's scary. That's scary. The mind thinks it's impossible. The mind makes me want to check out and go, yeah, that's a great idea. I feel that. And now I know from the lessons I learned, because that makes you scared, go do that.
Yes,
like, how do I?
Yes.
And we talked about the how. Don't touch the how. It's a hot stove. Don't touch it.
I love
And
this.
so
Yes.
I said, what would make me uncomfortable? It would be that I write it down. Okay. What'd be more uncomfortable? Writing down a date in 6 weeks. What'd be more uncomfortable? Making a post about it. Oh, good God. Where are we going with this? So now I know that I put my word down that I'm going to talk about this, and we're going to say we're going to do it 6 weeks. I'm not going to touch the hot stove of how, but I'm going to take action on that. That's a way of life. That's a way of being. That has me nervous all the way down to my toes and other parts.
Can imagine. You're finally
Wow.
letting go of all this weight that is holding you back until finally become weightless, become almost like light. Let the light
Yeah.
underneath this layer of darkness being unleashed. Let the real Bryan Tarr, the real message that Bryan Tarr has been brought into this life to learn and then share that.
I think my teachers have taught me, and the people that I've had myself around, the trusted connections we spoke about, they're helping me to observe myself. I'm frozen. I'm so scared I don't know what to do. I'm now able to observe myself. Wow, you're really frozen. What are you going to do? Somebody told me to take action. I take action. I observe myself. This thought has me, my brain is completely checking out and finding excuses not to do it. I'm observing myself. Interesting, Bryan. Your brain just checked out. Okay. What do you want to do, Bryan? I interestingly am able now to observe my mind and my body. Oh man, my body, your breathing will change. My solar plexus will tighten up and I'll get nervous in a second. And I've learned to observe that. My brain has a unique thing that it will completely forget something. So we'll talk about this and my brain will check out and I won't remember it. But now I can observe that. And I think that unique learning to observe myself and what my body's going to do, but not be committed to it. I think that came from the practice of meditation that helped out and being able to observe that. So now Bryan's human. He's going to fluster. He's going to be overwhelmed, anxious. He's going to become unfocused. He's going to make mistakes. I'm a human. These things are going to happen. But I'm learning to observe myself and be objective and know that there's something bigger that I'm supposed to do. It's just an interesting, yeah.
And pay attention to your gift, to what you're really blessed with. Don't take it for granted, because this is, I mean, it's you went through all the crap you went through for a reason, not just for you to. It was not a punishment, absolutely not. It was for you to grow, to learn, to become the person you're meant to be, to fulfill your mission in this lifetime. And this is your lifetime. I see a powerful leader.
Thank you.
Impacting not just men, but men and women around this world. Men and women that have gone through hell and come back. because and this is why I feel in a way that you had to go through some of the most painful experiences in life so that you can learn the tremendous power and impact of your message, of your gift, so you can really understand how deep, how powerful is your message. Because if you had gone through some minor things, maybe you would not have realized its power. Just like the stove. Okay, don't touch it. Imagine putting yourself and not on the stove, but inside a volcano, inside a pot of acid, for example. Now you learn it very fast, much faster than a stove.
Yeah,
And you,
I grabbed somebody's dish. We were at breakfast, and somebody was looking at the dish, and they go, "Oh, that looks delicious." And I thought it'd be really funny to take their dish from them and present it to him. Bunch of smart asses. So I go to grab it, but I grabbed it with my thumbs and the hot skillet. I hit the hot skillet, and in a second, my body reacted. So that's that hot thing that don't touch
yes,
that.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. And I was thinking for a second as you were talking about that, um, that there was the moment when my body and mind in many of these traumas said, "You're done. Who are you? This is punishment. You deserve this. Why me? I'm done. I'm sorry. Forgive me. I don't know what to do." There were a lot of those things that came up in that moment. And I didn't suddenly have an awe-inspiring awakening, at that moment. Clouds didn't open up, horns didn't come in announcement. But all I knew was, why me? Why? Why am I going through this? Why am I having to suffer this? I don't get it. And there was no answer,
Let's go.
because I had to hear that thing from deep inside.
Yeah.
And I survived it. And I went through it in that moment. But the gift wouldn't have been realized till much, much later.
Powerful. While we were talking, an idea came to mind. I thought, let's go back to the moment that you seriously considered and toyed with checking out. Take us back to that moment.
It
And then
was
and what made you not check out and kept you going?
that wasn't the first time, as I thinking about it. I was a teenager, confused, didn't have a dad, mom was working, hormones racing,
Mhm.
emotions racing. I didn't understand who I was. I didn't understand why I was around. And I remember as a teenager thinking, I should just quit right here. I should
Wow.
just quit right here, and I should just kill myself. And that thought actually came about. And then that evening, I talked to my mom, and I made it through that. So I realized this was the first thing something like that happened in my mind. But what happened in that moment, on after 14 hours of being transferred from cell to cell to cell, is I felt something greater than me. It wasn't a choice. That in this place, it moved into the bigger cell that everybody was in, and just danger everywhere you go. You don't know these people. You don't know if you're going to survive. There is no saving. There is no safety. There is none of that. You are in just living in danger, and you can feel it and you can sense it, and you're not okay. But there is nothing your body and mind can do. You're not okay. And then you have to go into this. You're in the general area, and you have to go in with these two other guys that you don't even know. And you don't know if you're safe. They're not talking to you. They're telling you, look, we're in here together. This is what you're going to do. Not to be gross, but they tell you, when you got to take a crap, you better flush it immediately, because we don't want to smell your shit. And if you don't, we're going to have problems. You got it? This is, we got to put up with this. You're in here with us. That's what you're going to do. And you're scared. You don't know these guys. And then that cell is open, and then that cell closes. It's a metal door, and it's called the slammer for a reason. That metal door, boom. and you're looking and you're in a small cell with people that you don't know, and you don't know what's next. You don't know what's next. And it's time for everybody to go to sleep. And so you're in this bunk and you don't know what's going to happen next. And that's when I began to hear voices. And I heard, I'm over here. Just like I'm talking to you, I'm over here. And I'm like, oh my God. Okay, I didn't just hear a voice. What are you doing? I'm like, I am hearing voices. As loud as day, I'm hearing voices. I'm done. I'm going to die in here. I wonder how I'm going to die in here. I wonder, am I going to just convince myself to kill myself? I wonder if I'm going to get killed. This is it. I'm going to check out. And my brain began to think of the ways that I'm going to die in here. I'm done. I'm checking out. My brain is already thinking how it's going to die. And it's just, I can't explain it. I can't stop the thinking. Am I going to hang myself? Am I going to find a clever way? I wonder if I'm going to find a different way to kill. I'm going to check out. This is where I'm going to die. This is where I'm going to die, said my brain. And the only thing I knew was ocean waves. And I realized I've got to think of something else. I've got to, ocean waves, ocean waves, ocean waves, ocean waves, ocean waves. This repetitive thing, ocean waves, ocean waves, ocean waves. I'm sitting there in my bed. I don't even know how many hours go by. I don't even know if I caught sleep. Ocean waves. And I think if I woke up again, it was ocean waves, ocean waves, ocean waves, constantly, 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 until I heard, goosh. The doors were opening probably at 2 a.m. for food. And then I was free. That was the only way I made it from my mind eating itself. I've never experienced that before. That one thought, my mind was eating itself. Everything physically and mentally was planning on me to find a way to die. And those doors open up, and it was like, that was the grace of God. I got out, I'm in the general area, and I lived. I remember that. I remember walking on the steps going, I'm alive. I'm alive. And for a moment, I thought, okay, I got this. That's how I made it through that one night, that situation where I thought, this is it. This is it. Even in my brain was thinking of a way it's going to happen. And that's just, I think that's what's given me the confidence, because if I can face my own mind eating itself and deciding how I'm going to check out, I can give me whatever you throw at me in life. And I think it was from the emotional intelligence that I learned earlier. I think that's what I can contribute that to. But it was that one thing I held on to, the just sound of the ocean waves in my mind.
Wow. And that was right before you being released, or was it in the?
No, that was my first night in there. So
Oh yeah.
I got shipped downtown. Then I was in the receiving area where you go transferred from cell to cell to cell with 13, 14 other guys you don't even know. Oh, one guy started preaching at the top of his lungs, preaching to everybody about this. Crazy. And you realize this guy's crazy. Somebody's going to kick his ass. Somebody's going to beat him up, and you're going to be in this. And so there was that situation. And then you finally get assigned to a cell area where there's the individual cell areas where people sleep on the bottom, and the individual ones up on the top. And then there's the tables in the middle, and that's the general holding area. And so that's you're assigned your block. You're in that block, and you're assigned a specific cell with 2 other men, or sometimes 3 other men. And so that's when I was in this general area. That's when I'm in with men I don't even know. That's when, I mean, even in being transferred, there was the hope of being transferred. I know I'm going to only be here for a little bit of time. I'm going to get transferred. Oh, this is shitty. I'm going to be transferred. Okay, this is not good. I'm going to be transferred. Oh, this is not good. So you're constantly being transferred. There's a false hope. But then you're in an area, and this is what you're going to be. This is the area you're going to be for you don't know how long, and you don't know what's going to happen. There
Wow.
is no out. There is no safety. There is no getting transferred. There is complete unknown. You don't know the guys that you're with. You don't know what's going on. You don't know what they know about you. You don't know the rules. You just get a feeling. You don't want to do something that's going to piss somebody off. There's nobody that you can talk to that recognizes you. The feeling, I think that's what contributed. There was nobody I could talk to that knew me as a human being. I had no identity. And that was intentional. I had no identity. And all I can figure is in my brain without that identity was like, well, we don't know who the hell you are. Let's finish you out. Let's finish you out.
Wow.
That's all I can put together.
Powerful. That's, I don't know what to say. That's beyond powerful. And again, that message needs to be shared big time, because you don't want to waste all of those horrible moments you went through. That didn't happen for no reason. It happened for a reason, for you to take those beautiful blessings, beautiful messages and share it. That's your responsibility, Bryan. For the next, now you're at the start of the second quarter in a basketball game of your life. As Coach Randy would say, you're start of the second quarter. Now you have a different mission. The first quarter, it was a hard one, but we managed to end up on the lead on the score. Now let's keep the lead and let's extend the lead. I'm talking as if Coach Randy would talk in basketball terms right now. So
I think, and the thing I anchor onto
yes.
is you talk about all of the thousands of men that are going to be in a stadium that I'm going to be speaking at with other men, and they're going to be
always
listening
hold
to my
that
message.
in your mind. Always hold that in your mind.
And I'm picturing in all of those thousands of men, there's one man who doesn't know why. And I don't even know that he's thinking that. And he doesn't know why. And his life is meaningless. And he doesn't like his wife. And he hates his job. But because of I'm bold enough to share something I went through, for that one man, he could choose to change the compass in his life 1 degree. That's why I have the invitation to share my gift for that one person that will hear it. And that's the thing that just keeps me from day to day to day, is that's my opportunity and responsibility in life, to let that one person hear what I went through so they can change the compass in their life, even 1 degree.
Yeah.
That keeps me motivated and going.
Absolutely. And I want to help you make that vision as vivid as possible. Imagine the biggest stadium in the US, the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, packed, 120,000 people, all screaming and cheering and Bryan, Bryan, Bryan,
Yeah.
or whatever catchy phrase we can come up with at time, which will be unleashed leaders or unleashed men or impactful men, whatever it's going to be the catchy phrase. You know, all of these guys, not just guys and women as well, cheering, and I'm getting goosebumps right now. And it might be far-fetched and almost impossible right now, this moment, but hey, within a year or two, with the way things can, the velocity that things can take off, especially when people come together. As I said earlier to you, two people together is 11, 311, 4 is 1,111, 5 is 11,100, 11,111, and so on and so forth. You never know. We can, within 10 people, 10 men, we can pack that 100,000 stadium.
There's a quote, Marianne Williamson, I think it has, and our darkness is not our greatest fear. I'm paraphrasing it because I can't remember it. Our darkness is not our greatest fear. Our greatest fear is that we're more powerful than we can imagine.
Yes.
And who are we to be a light to others? And who are we not to be amazing and brilliant? So that I remember, who am I not to be the Bryan Tarr that I can be?
Yes. Just like you said it perfectly in the start of this conversation, don't just smile. Smile as if your 5-year-old self of you would, without any restriction. One thing that I learned, that I always say, is that never let that 5-year-old inside of you die, because the moment you do, that's when you can literally check out. That little 5-year-old inside of you, even if you're 95 years old or 10,000 years old, this is the fire in your belly. This is what keeps you going. We all want to have fun, even if you're 95, even if you're bedridden, God forbid, but you still have that inner child inside of you. Let that inner child. I was reading a book not long ago. I love books, as you can imagine. It was saying, what is the definition of love at the spiritual level? Is to be creative, to create things around you. And in order to create, you need to, what kind of state of mind you need to be? You need to be in a state of mind of laughing, smiling, happy. So it all comes in a circle. So let that inner child, this is the inner child in us is the very essence of life inside of us. A lot of us, unfortunately, because of society and people telling us, oh, be more mature, be more responsible, be a man, be good. And we tend to suppress the inner child. And that's why we see an armies of zombies around us, because they've suppressed that inner child inside of them. But the moment you let that inner child come back, that's when your life takes off. You become who you really are, who you're really meant to be. And life becomes fun, what it was supposed to be. So whatever
Biggest
you do,
encouragement is like ask yourself every day, what would be fun? What would really be fun? And do that one thing.
what would the 5-year-old Bryan want to do? What would the 5-year-old Bryan, what would the 5-year-old Bryan would do to make this the most fun possible?
Like today, like I take it, somebody said once, when we ignore the now and focus on the future or the past, we sacrifice the gift in the now.
Absolutely.
And so I focused on like today, I've got some work to do and I've got some things I'm gonna accomplish, but what would be fun? What would be fun today is that when I get done with my work this evening, that I'm going to put some favorite music on that my fiance loves. We're going to cook dinner together and we're going to be silly. And I know that that would be fun and I can create that fun.
Yeah.
And so like, that's what I focus on is like today, what can I do to be fun? It's that one thing, that one thing.
Yeah. Go
I love
paint.
that.
Go paint. Go whatever, have a pillow fight or go build a castle on the beach, whatever you want to do. Play Legos, whatever,
Go to a coffee shop and meet somebody new. Do something,
Yeah.
something fun.
Play video games, whatever you want to do. Just have fun.
Mm-hmm.
Rekindle that 5-year-old inside of you.
It's waiting to play. I love that.
Absolutely. Life is supposed to be played because when you play, you put yourself in a state of mind of creativity, and the creativity builds love around you.
And other people want to have fun with you. I love that.
When you're having fun, exactly. You're going to be a magnet of attracting other people who want to have fun. You don't have to go after them. They will come to you. Hey, this guy's having fun. I want to have fun too.
Oh, so perfect.
This is beautiful, my friend. Listen, we can talk for hours. It's been 2 hours now. Love that. But listen, I'm super excited about, and I'm super proud that not only of, the transformation you've made over the past few weeks, but the way you just took an idea and just committed to it. Six weeks from now, let's do it. That's beautiful. That's powerful. That's inspiring.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're inspiring me right now, so.
So I love finding a brother from another mother.
Absolutely. Can't wait till we can actually meet in person. Hey, in 6 weeks, that's going to be the virtual summit. And maybe in 6 months, it's going to be in person. Who knows?
Who knows? We're limitless.
Put it out there. It's not our business to figure out the how. Just figure out the why and let the fire in your belly and the inner child inside of you push you.
So well spoken. Thank you.
Absolutely, brother. I salute you. You're an absolute, inspiration. Your story, along with Randy, is two of the most powerful and inspiring stories I've heard, and over almost 200 people on my podcast. And I've had only incredible people on my podcast. Maybe I should relabel my podcast "The Incredible People Stories." But
That'd
whatever.
Be great.
Yeah, but hey, Leaders of Heart is not bad neither. So I like it for now. So, but listen, your story is right up there. Go out. Don't be shy.
Thank
Go
you.
on Clubhouse. Go on wherever you can, on the rooftops with a microphone, and start screaming your story, Maybe not like that, but yeah. Share your story. The point is share your story. You've been blessed with an incredible story. And now that you're finding your voice, literally finding your voice, your throat chakra is opening up. I can feel it. Make the most of it. Don't hold it.
I won't.
Holding
I'll
part
speak
is
loud.
behind you. Now is full thrust forward.
Focus on the why and pedal to the metal.
Exactly. No turning back, brother. Listen, I salute you. Stay safe, stay
Thank you.
awesome, and looking forward to our next conversation, next jamming session with Bryan. Hey, that could be the title of a podcast, Jamming
Why
with
not?
Bryan.
That sounds fun.
Jamming with Bryan and Payman. Yes,
Woo!
brother. I salute you. Take care. Ciao.
You too.